This is the morning brief from the Economic Times.
I have an 8-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter, and I actually spend a lot of money for them buying them items that are UGC or user created in a Minecraft or in a Roblox. Why am I spending that kind of money to get my son something on from a Nike in a Roblox world is very clear, is that his virtual avatar, where he's spending 3 to 6 hours playing with his friends, looks cooler with those Nike limited edition NFTs that he recently acquired there. Okay, if you're kind of showing yourself off and being that personality more online than offline, doesn't it justify spending money on it?
I'm listening to you and I'm thinking of the video games we used to play, which were like the road runners and the road racers. And we
Correct.
seem to have come some millenniums, away from those years. And we had computer classes where you had to remove the shoes and enter because the AC was on only in the computer class. So
You're making all of us sound very old, Delina. I'm
people.
living I'm living my childhood through my kids.
The parent buying Nike shoes in the Metaverse for his kid is Robbie John, co-founder of gaming firm Super Gaming, which is betting big on this whole Metaverse for its growth. The other astounded voice you hear is me, your host Devina Sengupta. It is Tuesday, 21st December, and you are listening to the episode Inside Metaverse on the Morning Brief. In today's episode, I try to grasp what is Metaverse and the economics of it.
Starting today, our company is now Meta. Our mission remains the same. It's still about bringing people together. But now we have a new North Star to help bring the Metaverse to life.
All right, Robbie, I have been reading up on metaverse and what it means, okay, because it's still a lot of information to grasp. Tell me, from what I understand, metaverse in this case means like the movie Avatar. I can live a life in a parallel world. I can buy groceries I want. I can buy property. I can invest in digital currency. I can attend concerts. I can attend meetings without moving away from my sofa. Is that what metaverse is going to be in the future?
Devina, but let me take a step back and explain to you how we got here. We started with online worlds. Online worlds started with games. These games were massively multiplayer online role playing games, which eventually you kind of saw in social worlds. And that was your people hanging out, eventually, classrooms, lectures, more events. We also have creative worlds like Second Life, which have many of these qualities, but allows you to kind of create content inside of them, which I would say regular social worlds didn't allow. Now, the next step from this social online world is what is called a multiverse. Now, when we talk about metaverse, more than the avatarish kind of world, I kind of say that, hey, you're connecting this online world with the real world. And what you mean by that is, it could be augmented reality, but you could be walking in the real world and seeing virtual things. You might be attending classes, which is a mix of virtual attendees and physical attendees. You might be working in the virtual world and getting paid real money. It also includes, the promise, so to say, of interoperability, standards, all of the things that kind of make our life easier.
You guys ready?
It all started with a Marshmallow concert.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go!
Metaverse, the word that's been popping up everywhere recently, is a virtual community. And within that community, people can play games, work, or in this case, attend a concert. Fortnite's concert was a huge success.
So nicely put out there, Robbie. The definition I have is the ultimate aim of a lot of companies. But what you're talking about is the process that slowly we might actually toggle between different worlds. Now, tell me, why would I right now be interested in a metaverse? How can we take advantage of this, or how would it help us?
We already operate in, or we already, I think that the future is already here. It just isn't evenly distributed. Today, already we kind of think, we walk around in a real city, you see virtual things in a game like Pokemon Go. Many students are already attending virtual classes in video chat. There is Second Life. And people have been kind of making money just playing games, which is the whole play to earn phenomenon since a very long time. Now, when we kind of think about how we're going to get there, it could be, we're all kind of operating virtually. We never see each other, but we're all getting paid real money. Now, that is kind of this virtual world, but defining standards on, how do we deliver, so to say, our work, how is all of this coordinated, that whole promise of Web 3.0 is really what I think is kind of making this possible today.
Gaming, I understand, because the more real it is, the more attraction towards that particular game one finds. Education also in a country like India, where classrooms are not available even now for lakhs of students, a virtual world, if created, may be far more helpful right now than travel probably 20 kilometers to attend school. But other than that, can physical world actually be substituted by a parallel world?
I was in education games before this, and I always said that hey, my games can only augment learning and teaching, but the best alternative was the teacher. I think what we've learned in the last couple of years, especially in quarantine, is that whole teacher experience can, like, versus watching YouTube videos, but an interactive classroom. And I see my son go through it every day, in which his teacher is actually looking at his handwriting while he's writing it, and kind of saying that, hey, this virtual world, eventually we might have AI bots that actually can understand my son's handwriting and whether he's paying attention or not, and even do that job for a physical teacher doing it. Now, how advanced, how quickly, those are still work in progress. I think that we'll get there eventually, but I firmly do believe that that's really the future that we're headed towards.
While Robbie explained the future, Metaverse is right now being developed in India mainly by the startups. My colleague Apurva Mittal had joined in on the call with Robbie and me, and she explained to me how the startups were bringing in this change.
Yeah, so Devana, startups are building for new or pre-existing virtual spaces that would eventually form the metaverse, that we're talking about, and this has been especially prevalent amongst the blockchain and NFT native companies who are more embedded in virtual communities. For instance, I know of a few NFT focused startups who are buying a plot of land in popular virtual worlds to host office hours, build their office, and even conduct a launch party. So there's a lot happening. The gaming companies are pioneering it because of the technical ability they already possess. Interestingly, there's also a lot of action from lifestyle brands, not as much in India but internationally. Gucci, for instance, launched a limited edition line of accessories on Roblox.
Let's talk virtual fashion. Gucci is selling a new virtual pair of sneakers that can only be worn digitally through augmented reality.
Nike making a big push with the launch of Nike Land on Roblox. It's a virtual world where players will be able to play games and design products all in Nike gear. Is this a smart strategic move for Nike or just a big publicity stunt?
Robbie, coming back to you on this one, is when Apurva is telling me how lifestyle to tech, everything is betting on metaverse. What is your company looking to build? We've been discussing on NFTs also and crypto. Tell me, how do you merge a gaming company with crypto in a metaverse?
So I would say online world technology is really the backbone of this metaverse. By virtue of just being in this space for the last 13, 14 years, we've kind of figured out and run fairly large scale online worlds. Three of our games have got over 50 million users each. We now actually operate a game called Silly Royale, in which people are kind of playing games like the Squid Games in a virtual setting.
For those who are not hooked on to OTT platforms, Squid Games is a survival drama series that is counted as Netflix's one of the most watched series. So far, I understood that in the metaverse gaming world, I can use cryptocurrency to unlock and go to the next stage. I can build my own hotel chain and ask guests to pay in digital currencies and have their avatars stay over. But I still had one fundamental question.
How do I enter this metaverse? Okay, let's put it this way. I was asked by someone else recently that, do you have an avatar? I don't. Okay. And this person is a recruiter and he had said, a couple of years down the line, the way you have your Twitter handle, someone might ask you what's your avatar. And it's going to be part of your conversations. So what do I do to be part of this metaverse?
Correct. So part of our Indus metaverse, you need to kind of sign up on Indus, and that's physically manifested in a web game that's already available on a iPhone app or on an Android device or even on PC and console. So we're kind of accessible and everywhere because it's a metaverse. We're not limited to a platform. We're actually everywhere. There you would actually log in. You kind of be awarded a default avatar. And then you kind of go there and acquire. Either you kind of spend money and acquire an NFT or a limited edition costume. You might want to kind of just kind of grind and find some currency and keep upgrading yourself. So that's kind of something that you'll start with, and then you'll kind of enter some of our new worlds, which we keep revealing every 3 to 6 months, with the same concept of land as Apurva said earlier. But these are universes that have never been discovered before.
That's very interesting. Apurva, I wanted to also understand from you, ultimately, where is the money coming from for a company like Robbie's? How is the advertising models working out here? When a Gucci takes out its limited edition on Metaverse, or Robbie's talking about the Indus Valley game, how do advertisers get a pie of this?
So, see, I mean, couple of things there. Gucci is getting into it, or say an Adidas is launching into the Metaverse collection because the next generation of consumers, which is Gen Z and younger, are glued to these virtual spaces. And when we talk about specific advertising, so one of the person I was talking to who has an office in one of the virtual lands said that, you know, it depends on the sort of community that a land has. If there are a lot of people who are coming to that community, a billboard outside his virtual office could be a possible way for someone to advertise something. So there are different ways one can advertise, similar to how in real world we have billboards and on popular intersections. It could happen in metaverse also, and on popular virtual lands.
But what about the regulations? Will our laws work in a virtual world? Just like the crypto under the government scanner, who will keep an eye on my rights in a metaverse?
So, Devina, I think the governments around the world are sort of still trying to wrap their heads around big tech and the implications it has had. For example, Twitter and Facebook, Meta, as well as, dealing with crypto and blockchain technology, which is sort of could be the foundation of metaverse. So, I mean, it all starts with regulating these aspects. So far, I mean, I haven't heard anything on a regulatory framework for a metaverse. So that is one thing that is also being debated, is that, like, how open or closed do we want to make these virtual worlds?
Do you have a digital avatar?
I don't. I should probably
You
start
don't?
building one, but no.
Yeah,
It's one of
let's
those
do
things.
it.
It feels so alien, but maybe 5 years later we listen to this podcast and be like in a digital room in our digital avatars, we saying like, "Wow."
So, our virtual and real worlds are merging. But in India, with poor infrastructure and networks which are still a struggle in places, are we there yet? Arvind Neelakantan, tech evangelist at Epic Games, which is building a metaverse ecosystem, tells me how soon can my avatar play more than just video games. Oh, and by the way, Epic Games got Ariana Grande to perform in the midst of a video game, and everything happened on the metaverse. Hi Arvind, were you there for the Ariana Grande concert which your company hosted?
I was fortunate to be there, and along with over 12 million people who have participated in it. The Ariana Grande concert, of course, was experienced through Fortnite, which is a game that Epic Games make. It's the largest game in the world with over 350 million registered users. It's totally fun, like a totally different way of experiencing a concert for sure.
Did you have your avatar there? Is your avatar a digital version of what you are, or do you have a very different avatar? What were the kind of avatars that the rest of the spectators had?
So, because the game which hosted the Ariana Grande concert was Fortnite, the characters that you experience the concert as were the same avatars that you had while you play Fortnite. Now, I myself, I came in as a little I don't know if I don't know if you how familiar you are with the Marvel universe, but I had a nice Deadpool character, which was a skin that I had, and I've experienced a concert as Deadpool, and I was just running around and experience a concert. And unlike a traditional concert where there's a one directional stage, here the world is your oyster. Like we had a three dimensional real time 3D world, and Ariana Grande was a large avatar representation of herself, and you were able to just look at and experience the concert from various different angles, and sometimes even upside down while playing games. We had like over 12 million users staying on the concert concurrently, watching the concert. So it's not constrained to one geography.
Wow. So right now it's we are still in that flip phone stage, where you have a screen and there's also a keyboard and you can interact via that. But going ahead, it'll become more sensory, right? Soon you might just wear one of those AR goggles and manage to enter a different world, correct?
Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, one of the largest growing sectors in the world and in India is, of course, augmented reality combined with your big data and analytics and machine learning and IoT, which all plays a very important role in the building of the metaverse. But if you're asking about is this the metaverse, we don't know that yet because the idea of metaverse is still evolving.
You sound like the oracle from the Matrix right now. Is it? We don't know yet. Right.
Yeah.
Arvind, also something that I've been thinking about for a while is we hear a lot of gaming companies, startups involved in the metaverse. What about India's big conglomerates? The Tatas, the Billas, the Reliance Group. Are they also talking about the metaverse?
The simple answer for that is absolutely. So let me just talk some numbers, right? So the estimated revenue of the Indian IT industry, which is what is the bedrock of like Tata's and your Reliance, for example, is about $194 billion in 2021 alone, with about a 2.3 year-on-year growth, and that is despite the pandemic, right? And the industry is continuing to grow its digital capabilities, and we have about 280K skilled employees in 2021 alone. So as I mentioned, we have like augmented reality, the metaverse, IoT, smart mobility, whatever you want to call it, and these are all the key drivers of this growth. And for all of this tech that we are talking about, real-time 3D engines like Unreal Engine plays a very important role. So to reiterate my original answer, pretty much all the major companies or have dedicated teams today who are working on emerging technologies, including developing for the metaverse.
Super. I mean, that sounds very promising. Arvind, before I let you go, my one final question to you is safety on metaverse. This whole parallel universe has not even formed, and there are already reports of harassment on the metaverse. How are companies going to tackle that?
That's a good question, and frankly, I don't have an answer for that because, as I mentioned earlier, the concept of the metaverse is still new, and for now, there is still a lot for the industry to learn about safety and regulations around it. And if you ask me, I think we just have to wait. We have to see how the industry solves for this, and until then, it's really the wild, wild west. And there are folks who are already working ways or figuring ways to figure out safety around the metaverse. But since it's a fairly new way of experiencing anything or even making production, we just have to wait and see.
It sounds straight out of a Matrix movie, but the metaverse will soon become a reality for all of us. I want to look at it as an option where I have the access to experiences which may be more expensive and time consuming otherwise. My one worry is at the supersonic speed in which technology is changing, will I have the option to settle for the blue pill at all? Or will I be forced to take the red one? Thank you, Robbie, Arvind, and Apurva for helping me and I'm sure all our listeners to maybe test out our avatars and also breaking down what this metaverse is all about. You were listening to Inside Metaverse on the Morning Brief with me, your host, Devina Sengupta. Producers Nehal Chalyawala from The Economic Times and Swati Joshi from Awaz. Sound editor Saundarya Jayachandran from Avaz. Executive producer Arijit Barman. The Morning Brief airs every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I hope you enjoyed listening to the episode. Do send in your feedback to the Morning Brief at timesgroup.com and share the episode on your social media networks. Thank you for listening and have a nice day ahead. All clips used in this episode belong to their respective owners. Credits are mentioned in the description.